What's going on, everybody? Angry Sarge back to break out this video of duty boots. And the reason why I'm doing this is because one, I'm replacing a pair of my duty boots. So I wanted to make sure that I had something that I did a little research on and tried to find the best fit for what I'm looking for and what my purpose is. So I think I found a good one to try out. Hopefully, it kind of holds up and fits my purpose, but then again, we don't really know until we get to that position. So, um, on this video, there's going to be, two different boots. I'm going to show the old boot that I've been wearing and show a new pair that I'm currently going to be trying out and getting to the point where hopefully it fits well and all that stuff because you got to go through a break-in process with any kind of boot, and I'm sure y'all know that. But going through it, it might be a little drawn out, it might be a little long. I don't think it's that long, but we'll see. But just bear with me. I think it's gonna give you an idea on what I look for specifically and why I look for certain things, especially when it comes to the minute things regarding a boot or anything like that. So, um, while you're at it, you know, make sure you sub up, make sure you like, you comment, you share, all that stuff, so that way uh, we can make the algorithm gods happy and maybe they'll push my stuff out so other people can find me or any other YouTuber out there that does this kind of stuff, whether it's 2A, whether it's gear, whether whatever. Just we want to be able to get the word out and let people know that we're here and we have some good information based on, our training, our experience, our knowledge. And then again, you people out there that aren't YouTubers may have some really good knowledge and experience and information that you can get over to people like me who may need it, honestly. So, on that, let's get this video started. All right, we're back. I'm showing you pretty much one my duty boot that I've worn. I know I'm kind of covering up my face, but I want you to actually see it before we get on the tabletop, and you get to see an up close look at it. So I just wanted to show you this and tell you this is the Viktos Range Trainer. This is what I wore for about 6 months, and you'll see my thoughts and my opinions on that. But overall, the design is good. The design is a good range boot, what it's meant for. I'm pretty sure, not really a patrol boot, but we'll talk about that more when we do the tabletop on it. But yeah, I think it's a great boot. It's a nice design, as you can see. It doesn't look silly. It's a nice little boot, and I'll throw some video, some B-roll of it spinning while we're talking and all that stuff. But it's definitely something worth looking at if you have a specific reason for this boot, i.e., you're going to be at the range training or something like that, or maybe you do some light work or something. You just want a boot that is nice and is going to do the job. So something to think about. Hey everybody, we're back with the Viktos boot, and as far as I can tell you, I'm a fan of Viktos. I'm a really big fan. This is what the boot looks like. This is the Range Trainer. So I'll tell you this. I think that this is a really good range boot. And this is why. Because it's waterproof. It, it's made pretty good. The construction's pretty solid on them. It's got a TPU toe cap, which is great because, you've got to protect your toes. Uh, It's definitely got some nice qualities about it, being a waterproof boot and all that stuff. However, when it comes to being a patrol boot, which I wore this for 6 months, and I'll be swapping this out for another boot. But I think 6 months was too long for it, and here's why. See how dead the tread is? Looks good, brand new, but out in the heat, walking concrete and pavement, getting in and out of my car, and going up to people's houses and going out in the fields and stuff like that, it just after a while it's going to wear down. It wore down super fast, especially how hot it is here. Um, it can definitely wear down really fast. There's some things that I like about the construction, and obviously one of them's going to be this toe cap. This thing is exactly what you need, so you don't pop your toes out there, walking stairs or anything like that. The stitching's really good. Everything held up really well. The eyelets are really good and held. I didn't have any issues with that. They're actually in there really, really well. And I tighten these things down pretty tight. So overall, it's a good boot. Like you can see, there's one of the failure points. After all that wear and tear, it's just a little bit of material coming loose right there, but not much. I mean, that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But overall, great boot. Not patrol rated, I'll say that. And there's a couple reasons why. That obviously the tread is not that tough or anything like that. There's really not much to it. There's not a whole lot of anything. The other thing I don't like are these. I swapped these out fairly fast after wearing them for a couple of days. And I was like, no, this doesn't give me enough support. It's not very cushioned. And it just so happened, I had one of my duty days, and standing for long periods of time on your duty day is terrible, especially when you already have other issues from, you know, deployment related injuries and stuff like that. So, um, I definitely am one of those guys. I like to swap out my insoles, find something comfortable. These things are dead. I won't be able to use them anymore or any longer because insoles, from what I've found, the commercial insoles just don't last that long. I need to find something else, maybe something better. So if you have any, opinions or things you want me to try, suggestions, should I say, definitely drop them in the comments below. While you're watching the video, I know there's going to be more to it, but if you know of something, definitely drop it in there. I'll try it out and see what we think. But overall, the construction, like I said, is really, really good. It's not a, a slouch boot. And the fact that it is waterproof, and I'll say you can't stand in a puddle with it. Just common sense, right? You can't stand in a puddle with it. But if you walk through a puddle, you don't have to worry about your feet getting wet unless it's like high. So if you're walking through and it's like up to here, even up into here, as long as you're not standing in it, staying in it, you're going to be fine. Your feet won't get wet. So that's one of the things that I enjoyed because we do get rain. Even in the wintertime here, we're getting rain. So it's definitely handy to have a good set of waterproof boots to help out on patrol. But like I said, with it being so hot here, that's what pretty much wore this down. The fact that I'm walking on concrete pavement, standing out directing traffic in 100 plus degrees, when the asphalt or the concrete heats up much higher than that, definitely will burn these things down pretty fast. So there's not a whole lot of boots that do survive in those type of environments, but at least some other boots that you kind of pay more for, uh, they do last a little bit longer. So these, what they were good. They were good for what they were. Would I buy another pair? Yeah, if I'm going to the range and only using them for the range, which I already have range boots, so it'd be kind of pointless for me to buy another pair. But if I was just using these for the range, oh yeah, 100%. I would say they're good to go. I mean, you can see I'm rough. I tore those things up on the inside, but you can't see. Let's see if we can get down in there, in the back over here. I tore them up pretty good. But that's normal. Normal wear and tear, especially on boots. So, yeah, I mean, a couple good things on here that I think should be standard, especially when you're talking about duty boots or TPU toe caps and stuff like that. Those are immensely helpful in my job. So that um, there's another thing that I do. Maybe some of you other people do it as well. I knot the end up here so that way they can't be pulled through, and then I can just pull them out and not and know they're not going to slide out, and I'm going to have to relace them and all that stuff. But that's how I do it. And another thing is some people like to wear the zippered ones where the zipper's right here. They can zip them, get in and out of them fast. And those are handy, but after wearing them for a few years in the beginning of my career, you trade off some things like ankle support. It's another failure point and things like that. So since I've worn boots like this, not this low, but combat boots and stuff like that in the army, it just it's easier to do it this way, in my opinion. So on that, we're gonna come back and show off the new boot. But like I said, if you have any recommendations for an insole, definitely drop it in the comments and let me know so I can check it out. I appreciate that. So, all right, let's go to the next boot. All right, so now we're showing off the LALO Shadow Intruder. It's in the 5 inch. This is what I'm going to be wearing from now on. It's definitely something to keep your eye on. Honestly, though, when you talk about a boot, there's so many things that come into play, right? Not just the fact that it looks nice, and this one does look nice, has some nice features to it, nice stitching, things like that, which we'll go over on the tabletop. But there's more to it than that. It's the comfort. It's how's it going to hold up? What is my intended purpose? Am I going to be out in the rain? Do I want to get my feet wet? Things like that, which both boots definitely have some rain capabilities, I guess, if you want to call it that. So, you know, when it comes to a boot, though, eh, these are definitely pricey. Not gonna kid you, not gonna lie to you. They're pricey, but I think in 6 months, I honestly a month, I could probably tell you if they're worth it or not. But for what I do, hopefully this will do its job. And I mean, little things like that, like so you can put the rope when you're fast roping, stuff like that. I mean, is handy. Or you're climbing up the rope, nice little nice little grip area there. So anyhow, great great looking boot. I'm not gonna lie to you. The other one is too. The Viktos is as well. So I really can't say much on that, but you'll hear more as we go through the tabletop. But I hope that this lasts longer, obviously, than the Viktos, especially for the money. And I hope that water wise, it maintains that same waterproofing capability and drying out capability that the Viktos had. So I mean, those are the things that I'm wanting is durability and waterproofing, or drying out fast at least, so my feet don't stay wet all day. Because that's you never want that. It sucks. So, all right, well, let's get into the overheads. All right, everybody, we're back with the LALO Shadow Intruder 5s. These are very interesting, needless to say. When I saw them, I was like, okay, the price is really high for these, but I've learned throughout the years that in order to have a good pair of boots, you got to pay a little bit more money if you want them to last. So let's just show these things off. That way you can get a good view of them. They look really, really nice. Surprising. On the website, they're kind of, yeah, but in hand, they're pretty good. I'm impressed with them. A lot of grip points. This right here, I don't pass rope anymore, so it's not really a need for that, but it does it does look nice. So a lot of good grip points, ridges, things like that. Uh, I don't know if you can see, but that's breathable material back behind here. It's vented basically. So, and this, there's no TPU, but this is pretty solid. So I'm hoping that they'll protect my toes. It's not really much to this boot. I mean, the construction looks good. It's three stitched up. Like the stitching looks really solid and all that stuff. The one thing I do like about it, right off the bat, is going to be this right here. So you can tuck your laces once you tie them up into here. That's one thing I like about my Salomons, or however you say it, Salomon, whatever. My Salomons do that. I like that piece. So the boot laces feel kind of cheap to me for what this is, but I guess it's so it could dry out and all that stuff, because these are kind of meant for dudes who are going through water and stuff like that. So even the insole itself has holes in it so it can drain, do all that stuff, dry out faster. So there's a lot of good things about this boot. It's definitely water ready for sure if you're, you know, a Navy SEAL or something like that. But I'm not a Navy SEAL. I'm just a regular old dude that is in law enforcement. So um, it's not really much I can really say. I mean, everything looks really solid. I'm excited to see how these feel on my feet. I'll be honest with you though, it's the same problem as the Viktos, is there's not very much support with the insole. So that's a pretty common thing with boots, is you're not really getting much as far as the insole goes. But you do get some longevity out of some of the boots. So me changing the insole versus buying another pair of boots is definitely different. I'll take it. So I like I like this tread pattern. It looks good, looks solid. A lot of channel ways for water and mud and all that stuff to go through and still, leave you some grip and all that stuff. So that's a bonus in my opinion. But yeah, this boot, I'm excited about it. I think when I looked at everything, everything always comes down to, okay, what am I paying for this thing? You got to think about that. because it's got to be within your budget and everything like that. But I'm looking at all the other things. How's it going to support my ankles? How's it going to be standing for long periods of time? And yes, the insole has a lot to do with that too. But the cushion, as far as the um, layers here, matter as well. And then how long are these going to hold up? And you know, is it polishable? Yes. This right here would be polishable. I don't polish my boots anymore. I haven't for a long time because I've worked county for so long that the minute I polish them, 10 minutes after I'm on shift, they're already scuffed up, banged up, and from climbing fences and going out in the cow pastures or whatever. So it's kind of pointless shining your boots, to be honest with you. I'll clean them up and make sure they're not looking ragged, but that's about all you get from it. Don't really have that standard. However, if I'm in my dress uniform, class A's, whatever, um, I will have a spit shine pair of boots because that's just normal. That's You don't want to look like a bag of turds when you're dressed up. So I hope with this boot that you know I'm gonna the comfort and fit obviously is a concern. I hope it's gonna last, the durability. I hope I don't have any issues. If I do have any issues, I think right off the rip it's gonna be these laces. And of course I'm gonna knot them. I'm probably gonna have to maybe skip a couple holes because that's a lot. It doesn't give you very much lace when you get it up to here. And you still got to open it up to fit your foot in there. So um, I did a lot of research on this boot, and I think that's why I came up with this one. Like I've worn Danners and Rockies, and quite a few. I just haven't had the Lalos or the Loas, and those kind of caught my eye. And I saw these, and this really kind of stuck with me. So I wanted to try these out. Maybe the Loas will be next. But like I said, I've worn a lot of boots between Merrell and Salomon and all this other stuff with just Altimas and Bates and Timberlands and who else? Blower. I've wore lots of different boots on duty and between the military and law enforcement arena. So definitely wanted to try something different. These aren't cheap. Not gonna lie to you, they're not cheap. But I want to definitely check in and maybe in 6 months, maybe do another video and kind of let you guys know if you care to hear how these are going. So if not, then you won't see another thing about it until I change it out for something else. So on that, I think we'll go ahead and hit the final thoughts piece of this video. All right, we're back with my final thoughts, and we're gonna pretty much do pros and cons real quick of the Viktos Range Trainer and the LALO Shadow Intruder. Okay, just real quick, just and this it really isn't a pros and cons for this because there's a couple areas that I'm not going to be able to talk about, which is wear, fit, and all that stuff. So I can't really ding it on that. I can only go based off of the looks and the construction and things like that. So, we'll get to these here in a second, but I really want to talk about the Victos. And I'll tell you, I enjoyed them for exactly what they were. And they were good boots. I liked them. I hate that they didn't last long because I wanted them to really do their part. Obviously it has things that I really like, which is that front toe protection. That's that's Everybody needs that. That should be an industry standard. I mean, Salomon has them. These are have them. Um, there's not too many companies I know out there that do have that, and I'm thankful for the ones that do. But like I said, the biggest thing on this is they just didn't last, which is sad because when you pay as much as you do for these, and for them to maybe make it honestly 4 months, that's just not something you really want as far as a boot goes, especially for the price that you pay for these. So hopefully Victos, if they're watching, they see this or whatever, and they take something from that because I really like their products. I'm a fan. I have a lot of their stuff, but this I just can't. Maybe as a range boot if I got a new pair, but I don't even want to pay that because I'm a hard use kind of guy. So even on the range, I'm probably gonna wear down these boots pretty fast. So um, yeah, I mean there's a couple other things. The shoestrings, the shoelaces aren't very tough, I guess. They're kind of flimsy and all that stuff, but the you know it could be worse. I mean, I've seen worse on other boots, and I've had to go get different laces just to make them be close to what I wanted. So I understand that. So definitely the wear on them sucked. I like the grip. The tread was really nice, but once the tread's gone, these are like walking in uh, on ice basically. So especially when you touch water, it sucks because I've almost fallen a couple times. So another reason why I'm getting rid of them earlier. And I should have gotten rid of them at month 4 when I first started feeling that slip. But I had to take the time to do the research and then do the video and stuff like that. So beyond that, good boot. There's a lot of pros, like I said, as far as this, and you know the stitching, the overall quality, the waterproofing of it, the eyelets are really good. For the most part, it's a really good boot. Cons, obviously, are the tread. The always every boot cons are going to be the insoles are terrible if you're like me anyhow. So just little things, but I think this is a pretty good boot, and you can't go wrong if you're not a hard use type person. But if you're hard use like me, you're definitely gonna wear them down pretty fast. So now with the Lalos, I really hope that I get a lot of use out of these and they last quite a bit. Because for the price, if they don't last, that's going to be a huge ding. Because you're talking about $300 for a pair of boots, basically. Okay. Now, of course, I didn't pay that. I'll be honest up front because I got a discount, law enforcement, military, that kind of thing. I got a discount and I was very grateful for it. But still, you're still talking, you know, $200 pair of boot. So it needs to last. It needs to be durable. It needs to fit your needs and fit your role. And there's quite a few things on here. Like I said, this front part is pretty solid. So I'm sure I can pop my toe on a stair step and not have to worry about screaming about it or anything like that. I'm sure I'll feel something, but it won't be as bad as nothing being there. So that's always a bonus. The grip and tread, and this right here is fantastic. I mean, I think that's going to last quite a bit. Hopefully, the lugs are pretty deep, so that should give me some time on them. It's it looks like it can dry very fast because of the materials and all that stuff. And then, of course, being able to tuck in your laces and hide those so they don't get hung up on anything is a bonus. So little things like that make the quality of life on these boots good. The only thing I'm going to be concerned about, obviously, is I'm going to have to change out the insole because I already put them on once and I wasn't happy just putting them on. They were terrible. But that's just me and all my injuries, like I said, on the tabletop, uh, it a lot of things hurt if I don't try to cushion stuff. So anyhow, um, I'm excited. I'm ready to start wearing these things. And if you if you guys can think of anything that, boot wise that I haven't mentioned on here that maybe I should look at, or you want to see more stuff like this, please let me know in the comments. But also, lastly, and I'm going to say it again, one, thank you for taking the time to watch this video and leave your comments or anything that you're doing to help out the channel, liking, subscribing, and all that stuff. But two, I want to say you got to do what's best for you and keep it in budget. And I've worn very, very cheap boots, especially when you start out in law enforcement, military, where you're not getting paid a whole lot. And then you go through your careers and then you find out like your feet are really important and you should treat them like uh, kings basically, get the right boot for the job and all that stuff. Don't worry about the price right up front, because just like equipment and gear and all this stuff, you know it's gonna save you in the long run. Yeah, it's gonna suck up front, it really is, but in the long run it's gonna save you time, heartache, money. And I've bought a lot of gear, I've ran through a bunch of stuff, so I've learned very hard lessons with a lot of money wasted on gimmicky stuff and uh, stuff that just was cheap and didn't work out, broke, or whatever the case is. So just keep that in mind. When you're looking for boots, make sure you're looking for stuff that's durable. The stitching is good, especially when you start looking at these, where it's like three rows of stitching and stuff like that. That is a lot. That's telling you they're really looking at, you know, the leather, making sure it doesn't, or whatever this is. I don't think it's true leather. It may be, but making sure it doesn't fall apart and stuff like that. So things to think about. But on that, thank you, and I appreciate you all for coming and hanging out with me, learning a little bit about my quirks on boots, and we'll see you on the next one.